skateboarding has been like the one athletic thing in my life. It was surfing and skateboarding. Well, that's two. That's the kind of ethic I learned from that. It's like, you want to be good at this, you need to like sacrifice, but you also need to seriously keep trying forever.
You need to huck yourself down the stairs.
Exactly, like huck yourself down the stairs. And at the end of the day, even if like success or failure be damned, that really doesn't matter. What matters is that you kind of like created something that gives you the tingles. People say like, why would you have a band name that would be so hard to Google? And then my answer is, we invented this band before Google, and if I knew something like Google was coming, I wouldn't have started a band.
Hey, it's Heroek, and this episode is sponsored by me. Well, kind of. If you don't know, I recently started a clothing line called Quest Clothing, which you can shop right now. I'll leave some pictures here on the screen, but we got the core collection, which is just this sleek black and white design on a bunch of products. And then we also have some more like merch style stuff with cover arts for my songs and things like that. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I'm really excited that I now have it. And so expect a lot more collections, a lot more designs coming out soon. I'll leave a link to it down below, and if you want to stay up to date with any new releases or anything like that, follow at Shop Quest Clothing on Instagram. So go get cool designs like this, or even this, and you'll be helping me support all of this, the podcast, the music, everything. Plus, it just looks cool. We even got this nice big letter design on the back. Look at that. Look how cool that looks. So head to the link in the description to get yourself some Quest clothing, and make sure to follow at Shop Quest Clothing on Instagram for updates with new collections and stuff like that. And now, back to the episode. He's the lead singer and guitarist of the sludge punk metal band who have been rocking stages since 1992. They've been featured on Spotify's all new metal playlist, and you may know them from their song Candy in Spanish. It's Bobby Ferry from 16. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad
I'm
to be
excited
here.
to have you on, hear more about your story, the band's career as a whole, because you guys have been doing this for so long. So I'm excited to talk with you, learn all about it.
Right on.
So the first thing I usually ask guests who come on is just what first got you into music, or what was your first experience with music like that hinted that this is something you want to pursue for a career?
Well, let's use career loosely.
Yeah,
Um,
want to pursue this, period.
yeah, yeah. Um, I was just that child. I started like, wanting to have a guitar at like age 8. That doesn't mean I'm a virtuoso or anything, but I've always been really into music, even as a little kid. You know, I'm pretty old, so I remember getting, for my birthday when I was literally like 9 years old, like getting Devo Freedom of Choice, getting AC/DC for those about to rock, uh, you know, uh, getting Metallica's Ride the Lightning at that age. So I was just always a music person. I started playing in bands like late high school, when more of like indie rock bands, but that was like where my interest was, but that was also where my ability was. I heard I was definitely into punk rock, definitely into metal, and definitely into the newer wave of indie rock, the 4AD stuff and the Pixies. But I was also into, Black Flag and Bad Brains and Slayer and all of that too. So I just been a music head, forever. And I, started playing in this band when I was probably like 19. And so here we are,
Yeah.
I just,
And
I never quit. So.
yeah, you mentioned like always being a kid. Was there anything else you were thinking of pursuing, or was it like music from the start? This is what I want to do.
No, no. As far as like something I wanted to do, those styles of music didn't like, as a kid, I was, hopefully just gonna get some kind of job. I mean, I have a job now. But you can't, goddamn cat, get out of here. Uh, yeah, there was not a whole lot of future in most of those styles of music. Uh,
Yeah.
practically speaking. But I was way into skateboarding, up until, I was like 6 years old till, till my 30s, and was around the skateboarding scene, and, was around Southern California and San Diego, and in contests, and, making videos. And I used to work at a skate company. So skateboarding has been like if there's only one athletic thing in my life, it was surfing and skateboarding. Well, that's two. But skateboarding culturally, and what skateboarding drove, in in different subsets of youth culture, it really drove music too. So, um, you know, that skateboarding had a uh, huge part in shaping, my tenacity. You can definitely, like, if you're gonna really skateboard, you need to fall a lot.
Yeah.
And so it gets you in a good mind frame of just like fail. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of people like just trying for hours to make one trick and just hucking themselves downstairs. Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of ethic I learned from that, is like, if you want to be good at this, you need to like sacrifice, but you also need to like seriously keep trying forever.
You need to huck yourself down the stairs.
Exactly, like huck yourself down the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like no matter where you are, the like skating and punk scenes intersect a bunch. I like someone needs to say that. Like it's definitely
Yep. Yep.
a big crossover there.
Yeah.
And so with starting a band, it seems like you've always wanted to be part of some kind of like punk or metal band. What tips or advice would you give to someone who's maybe like has their own instrument but wants to either form or like join a band?
Um, the first thing is to don't listen to anyone's advice. Just do it.
Hmm.
Like, um, so don't have a predisposition of what you're going to do, or do it. Don't listen to anyone like me. um, you know. But the main fact is to just do it. If you can't play, um, then do it anyways, because some of the most fascinating art is developed by, either a virtuoso or someone who plays like they can't play. But with
Yeah.
enough passion, it convinces the rest of us, and they make something interesting and unique. Go to shows. It's a community. You gotta get out there and support each other. And if that's literally three of you, then that's three of you.
Yeah.
And if it's worth it, other people will follow eventually. you know
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And I mean, in terms of like once you have the band throughout the band's history, I'll say I'll steer away from using career over and over, but the band's
yeah, yeah.
history, um, you've released albums with a couple different labels, Pessimizer Records, now Relapse Records. Like if for a band that's starting up but like wants to get signed or is looking to get signed, what advice would you give in terms of like signing with a label and things like that?
um they typically, anybody in any business wants to get on a moving train, and you're going to have to make that train move by yourself. And so that means playing live on your own. That means putting your own records out. That means paying for your own recording. That means making your own merch. The beauty of that is that someone, when that if that has any traction, they'll just come naturally. They'll
Hmm.
will And so the real hard part is creating something that will get some traction. That's like super hard.
Getting the train moving.
Yeah, yeah. So, like that takes practice, and that also takes like integrating either into a scene, or touring, or being so unique, or being undeniably good. There's those bands too, that they're just undeniably good. Whatever style it is, they're just undeniable. And that's like a different thing too. Like there's complete originality, and then there's someone who's just undeniably good. And so, it's very hard to be undeniable, but if you're going to make anything kind of relevant, it's going to stick to the wall, and that's just going to take a lot of effort. Um,
Yeah.
and also, it's also important to not have goals, that to remember that you're doing this for art, for expression, and for art's sake, and everything else people see through. So like there has to be, at least in the art I like, there's always 100% sincerity,
Yeah.
and that kind of works, I think, across the board.
Especially for I've been slowly but surely getting more into the punk scene, and that seems like a big thing. Like it's I don't know anyone who's in the punk scene like for the money or anything like that. It's all about the art and the expression of it.
There's
Like you
but
gotta get
like I would say, the money left long ago,
yeah.
and every and all that is left is a lot of true believers who we feel, compelled to do this regardless. And
hmm Yeah.
you really got to conceptualize it like that. Um, and at the end of the day, even if like success or failure be damned, that really doesn't matter. What matters is that you've kind of like created something that gives you the tingles, like that's the fun part, is keep creating, keep creating, keep creating.
Yeah.
That's
That's
that,
awesome. Are you a music artist trying to find a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible? Then check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a super user-friendly and super easy-to-use service that will make your music available in stores like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. Everything you could imagine, it's available. People will even be able to add your songs into their Instagram stories. DistroKid helps you with the distribution, monetization, and promotion of all of your music. Use the link in the description of this video for 7% off any DistroKid package you want. Pick from musician packages designed to help artists get their own music out there, or even get a label package where you can manage up to 100 artists from one profile. So that's more for like managers, labels, and you can also get the musician package that I mentioned earlier, which is more for artists, producers, things like that. And super easy, and you can get 7% off any package right now with the link in the description of this video. So once again, if you're looking for a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible, I'm talking any platform you can think of, get DistroKid and get 7% off right now with the link in the description. Back to the program. Starting this band 16, where does that decision making come from to call yourself 16 and have that be the band name?
really stupid decision. Uh, People say like, if why would you have a band name that would be so hard to Google? And then my answer is that we invented this band before Google. And if I knew something like Google was coming, I wouldn't have started a band,
Mm,
bottom line, So,
yeah.
um, I mean, that's the short answer. The long answer is there used to be this professional skateboarder named Mark Gonzalez. Well, there still is. He's still alive, and he's an influential artist, an influential street skater. And he used to write on his boards in paint pen "Team 15" for whatever reason.
Just
We,
because.
yeah, yeah. For whatever reason, we started calling ourselves Team 15 on our first demo. And then that changed to just 15 spelled out 15. And then the drummer at the time made a 7-inch for us, and we had and he went to, I think the story is he went to Vinyl Solution, a record store in Huntington Beach, and the guy was like, "There's already a band called 15. They're on Lookout Records from you know, go rename yourself and come back, and I'll sell your 7-inch for you." And we were like, "All right, well, we're 16." And that's literally how it
Easy
started.
enough.
That's literally how it started. And here we are,
So
now
is there still a 7-inch out there somewhere that says 15 for you guys and not this other 15?
maybe my mom has it, but you ain't
Yeah.
getting it from me. Yeah, you ain't getting it from me.
So when you said that if you knew Google was coming, you wouldn't have started a band. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I'm just, I mean, that's just a play on, I would have bought Apple stock or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have bought musical equipment. Just
Okay, yeah, yeah.
knowing what I know now, maybe I would have started a band after I made all those investments. I don't know. But if I it's just, you grew up in the era of the internet. I was a teenager with no internet, so a lot of things were fucking bullshit. People could just lie to you and you couldn't fact check them in real time with your phone.
Yeah.
So we had to go to the library. So, it all would have blown my soft little brain when I was like 16.
Yeah, it really like it hit me out as you were telling that story and you were like they were like, why is it a name that's hard to Google? And you were like, well, the band started before Google. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm thinking of the timeline. I'm like, yeah, that really is before Google.
Yeah, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have like I said, if I would have knew Google was coming, I would have done something else.
Yeah. And so once the band is like set, you have all the members and everything. You change your name so that you can sell at this record store. What was your first live performance like as a band?
First live performance was a uh at a skate pool, an empty pool, um, in Whittier, California, in like a party house. And we played a party in the middle of the day at a pool where people were skating. And we played two songs, and the police came and broke it up. And that was our first show.
Memorable for a
Uh,
show.
yeah, yeah. Again, we could barely play at all. I could
Hmm.
tune the guitar, but
Yeah.
but that was the first one. Yeah.
And then so since then, and maybe it is something like that. Do you have a show that's been your favorite show to play?
Um, they happen every year.
Hmm.
Like either it's like a new high or a new low, can be both inspiring. Sometimes you play to 20 people but they know every word you're saying, and that's amazing. We've been lucky to get some festival gigs in our time. I think like maybe like 2014 or 15, we played a Roadburn Festival in this big church that holds like 1,000 people, and it's this big old church like that's like 1,000 years old or 500 years old or something in the Netherlands, and that was mind blowing. Um, Last year we played with the band Pentagram at a sold out kind of smaller theater in called the Belasco, and that was extremely memorable. And then, we've played in the basement of a winery to like, 60 people in France, where there was no bathroom. They put a toilet seat over a trash can and put leaves inside it, and that was the bathroom in the club. And when we were playing, everybody started breaking all these bottles. And that's super memorable too, because it was awesome, because it was crazy. It was a bit dangerous, but the people, they just went nuts. And so like that's totally memorable as well. So it really hits the gamut between 20, a
Yeah.
thousand, 60. They're all amazing shows, fucking good times.
Yeah, they each have their own little thing that sets them apart or makes them a favorite.
Yeah.
And so starting this band before Google to like nowadays it seems almost impossible to have a band that's not on the internet or like marketing themselves, things like that. How has that kind of affected the way you or the band uses social media or the internet? Like what's your general attitude towards it?
It's just another tool. I mean, we're from the zine era where you gotta, have your friends who worked at Maximum Rock and Roll or Flipside, and they'll give you an article, they'll review your 7-inch, they'll review your demo tape. It's really the same. You got to get out there and find your community and find where you fit in and what scene, or not even scene, but like find what really interests you. And kind of make, I mean, social aspect of online is a lot bigger and more impersonal, but it's still a social aspect,
Yeah.
So like I'm not against it. I mean, I'm against all the horrible shit they do as the social media companies and all that garbage. But for music, I mean, I get turned on to music all the time by the damn algorithm, and I'm
Yeah.
stoked on it. I'm stoked on it. Like it plays, it'll play like one of my favorite bands, Cathedral, and then it plays something else, but like some band I've never heard, and I'm like, this is awesome. So, I'm fucking into it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm all for the music discovery aspect of it. The actual algorithms and technical and business side of it, less excited about that. But I'm all for the music discovery. And so getting into the music of 16, just in general, like writing new songs, coming up with an album. What's the general creative process like for you guys?
It just kind of never ends. So like,
Hmm.
this band's been a band for a long time. So we quote unquote have a brand or a style kind of that sounds like us playing together. This lineup has been together almost 10 years or almost more. Some, I don't know. It's been a while since this one, almost a decade that this lineup has just gelled together. So we're always, we practice twice a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. But we have a work ethic, and that's what makes us happy is writing new shit. I don't want to sit around and write or play my old songs all the time that are already recorded. I want to make new stuff all the time. I want to make music come out of the speakers that I like all the time. So, that's
Yeah, that's awesome.
uh, yeah, I mean that's and if I'm still stoked on it and inspired, and I'm buying guitars and buying pedals and showing up to practice with if we have new ideas, like let's hear them, let's do them, let's collab and
Just
fucking put
keep
it.
the constant flow going.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like a momentum. Just keep that momentum going, and that's kind of how it floats along on inspiration.
Yeah. And so now you guys are gearing up for the release of your new album, Guides for the Misguided, on February 7th, which might be out by the time this episode comes out. We'll see. But either way, stay tuned or go listen to Guides for the Misguided by 16. What can listeners kind of expect from this new album that's different from past albums?
Um, I guess there's quite a bit of clean singing, quote unquote clean singing. Um, there's also some, scary stuff as well. Um, Stylistically, it's not a huge jump for us, but there's different tempos, there's different melodies. I like to think that we just get better at what we do slowly every year, and that's why I keep doing it. So if you ask me at any time, whatever record I just released is my best effort and my favorite thing I've ever done. And that's
Awesome.
that's my perspective on it. I'm just gonna keep on keeping on.
Yeah. So that kind of goes right into my next question, which was going to be if someone hasn't heard of 16 before, what would you recommend as a song to like get into 16? Would it be one of these singles from the new album?
Please.
Just
Please,
anything.
please,
Listen to any
please
16
do.
music.
Please do. Yeah, start with a new record and work yourself backwards.
Yeah.
I never want anyone to start at the beginning because I don't think we were that good in the beginning. But start now and work backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done that with a couple art. I used to this is back when I had too much time on my hands, so I can't really do this now. But like artists that I was already a fan of, or maybe listened to an album of, I would like literally go to their artist profile and like top to bottom listen to their entire discography over time, of course, in multiple sessions. But like that was my new music discovery. Like the
I
artists
do
that I
I,
know a song of, just get real into them.
I do that all the time. I just
Yeah,
and it could be a band from 30 years ago that put out 4 records that I never even heard of. and
But
I'll
now you're gonna
literally,
know all four of those records.
damn right, damn right. And there's you can find a bunch of amazing stuff that way.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And then the last question I guess I have for you here, I know we're on a bit of a time crunch, is if 16 got a chance to collaborate with any band, any artist in the world, who would you want to collaborate with?
Hmm. Um, I think we could make a cool Nick Cave song with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Hmm.
Uh, it's either that or most of the people I would want to collab with have passed away. So let's go with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, thank you, Bobby, so much for coming on. I have so much more I wish I could learn about this band, but I know you're on a time crunch. So, I mean, the offer's always open to have you come back on after the album comes out, talk more about the album once it's out, talk about anything else we want. But best of luck on this release cycle, on all the press you're doing for it. I can't wait to hear the album in full. I've heard the singles that you guys have put out, but I'm sure the full thing is just bringing it to another level. So if there's anything else you want listeners to know about or anything else you want to promote, feel free to do that now.
No, we'll be on tour next week in Europe for 3 weeks. Um, and the album is called Guides for the Misguided. And please check it out. We've been doing it for a while. So, like we said before, start at the new stuff and you can work your way
And
backwards
Yoda.
if you got the stomach for it. But thanks for listening and thanks for having me, bro.